I'd like to call it to order for October 13th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Dan Cassette,
Present.
Bob Zurich, Bob Kleppel,
Present.
Kevin Creedy, Jeff Patke,
Here.
Dwayne Reed, Tessie Steffens,
Here.
Sparky Stuckenschneider, Debbie Todebush,
Here.
Dave Waymeyer,
Here.
Betty Werner, Gavin Woolley.
Here.
Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, we have the approval of the minutes from our September 8th meeting. I'm sure you've all had time to go over them. If there are no corrections or addition, I am looking for a motion to accept. In a second.
I will make a motion.
Okay, so I have a motion by Bob and a second by Gavin. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Parks and Recreation report.
I will keep my presentation short since we have a lot to cover tonight. Just a couple updates, and some of these I guess we'll cover in old business too. But pavilions, delivery date is now scheduled for December. It was November, so it's been pushed back. But work has begun. If you've been out to the park around the lake, Pavilion number 1 and 2 have been removed. So, and some of the site grading has been already finished, and so we got one more to take down. Playground, Phoenix Park Playground, which was approved, I think, at the last Parks and Rec meeting. That is scheduled to come in January. Right now, that's what they're telling me, and it's possible it might be a little bit cheaper than what we initially thought. So. We shall see. And that work, we have a little bit of site grading to do over there and removal, little portion of the trail to remove, and then re-asphalt. So that can begin anytime, even before the playground gets here. So we'll work on that. And then the department is still 3 full-time employees short right now. And we have ads out in the paper and social media and MPRA and every possible place, but it's been a little slow. I interviewed one person this week, and we have another interview, I think, set up for possibly later this week. So we'll see how those develop. That's it for the Parks report.
Can I ask, how are we with workers? Are you still short?
Yes, three people short. 3 full-time employees short.
Attention.
Did he say that?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I was trying to just completely
You
miss
got a
it.
lot going on out there being president.
Yeah. Okay, any questions? Communication from the audience. We have a large audience tonight. Is there anyone out in the audience that would like to come forward and address the park board? If you do, I ask that you have to come up to the podium, and just because it's being recorded, and state your name, just so, because it's all being recorded. It's the procedure that the city.
And speak into the microphone,
Yeah,
please.
it's the procedure the city follows. So if there's anyone out there would like to address the park board on any issues, this is the time.
I'll start. Start? Good evening. You guys hear me okay? All right. My name is Nikki Meyer. I am here tonight to talk to you guys about WSA and soccer in the area. So I want to talk a little bit about why I think it's important to the community. So I'll also just let you know I'm not from Washington or the general area. I feel fortunate to have married into this community because it has been a really beautiful place to live. So I'm also a lifelong soccer player myself. I started playing soccer when I was 6, kind of like a lot of those little kids that you see up at Lakeview. I joined a club team when I was 10, and then I played with that group of girls until I went to college, and I played soccer in college. So to say that soccer influenced my life and afforded me opportunities would be an understatement. So over the last 6 years, I've been signing my kids up for soccer in Washington. And, you know, after a few years, I started to think about, okay, what's the future look like for them? Where can they play soccer? And I kept coming to the conclusion that if they want to play soccer competitively, that we were going to have to go to St. Louis. But here's the deal. We don't want to go to St. Louis. We want our girls to have the opportunity to play soccer and every sport at a high level of competition in this community. So fortunately for me, there have been a few dedicated volunteers who had a beautiful vision for the future of soccer in Washington. And over the last 2 or 3 years, we have seen the WSA make some pretty large transformations. They have organized in a thoughtful manner and created opportunities to develop kids just starting out and for those kids who are ready to make a bigger commitment to the sport. Both of my girls now play on WSA competitive teams, and they're making incredible strides in their technical soccer skills. But more importantly, they are learning all the things that sports teach us. Teamwork, how to handle adversity, what it means to make a commitment to something, how to win with grace, and how to lose without losing the lesson, confidence, self-esteem, and how to be a good teammate. All these lessons build character, and character is what builds and sustains strong communities. You want these kids to stay in this community, and you want families in this community to have programs like this available for their children. So we can stop driving to St. Louis and maybe have St. Louis come to us. As I read through the Parks Department's mission and strategic vision, specifically focus areas 4, 7, and 8, it doesn't seem out of alignment with the mission of the WSA. Why then is coming to terms on the use of the soccer fields intended for soccer and the betterment of this community seem to be so challenging? I believe the relationship between the City Parks Department and the WSA has the potential to be a mutually beneficial one, especially if we can remember to put the best interests of our children and families first. If you haven't been up to the soccer fields on a game day or busy practice night, you should visit. You'll see a buzzing community, kids laughing, parents connecting, lives and stories being shared. So the following is a summary of the problem, as I understand it, after talking with members of the WSA and listening to a replay of your last board meeting. So the WSA is growing, and they would like to continue to grow. In order to grow, plan for and offer additional opportunities to the community, they need a place for the kids to play and practice. The Lakeview Fields makes sense for a number of reasons. Here are a few. They are soccer fields. They have a concession stand and restrooms. And it's a multi-field complex environment that creates positive energy and allows families and children to connect with one another. The Parks Department manages the fields and has expressed need for resting periods, concerns about the staffing required for the maintenance and the striping, and the desire for other groups in the community to be able to use the fields. Nothing that I've said seems insurmountable. These are solvable problems, and the WSA is willing to participate in finding solutions if that means providing additional assistance for maintenance, for staffing, and for scheduling. I'm hopeful the board will consider proposed solutions from the WSA for the near-term seasons and perhaps even work with the WSA on future possible locations should they be successful in their mission to continue developing the academy and its players. Thank you for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, afternoon. Tim Peters. First off, just want to say thank you for allowing us to come up here and speak with you all. Just kind of want to reiterate what Nikki said. We are here to be a part of the solution, not to look back on the past troubles that we've had getting to this point. I just want to make that real clear. But before I move forward, we did have a chance to watch the replay of last month's meeting and just some of the comments that were made by members of the board. I guess in honesty, were unprofessional, and offensive to many here. That's as far as I just want to go. I just want to make sure that I get that on record. And the growth of local programs is what we want to talk about here today. Moving forward, I especially, along with these parents here and the supporters of the WSA, want to be a part of growing this program, growing the relationship with the city. It's got to be a mutual relationship. It can't be one or the other. We're not here to point fingers, point blame. Again, I'm here to help in whatever way possible I can to come forward with a solution to this program that is growing leaps and bounds and continues to grow. Will that solution come from tonight's meeting? Absolutely not. We don't expect that. We're just here to kind of voice some of our feelings. I think it's obvious there's been a lack of communication on both sides abound here, and how we fix that situation, I'm willing to be a part of that, as are many here. How do we correct that? I guess that's the million-dollar question. That's kind of why we're still talking about this, and we're at. I feel that, instead of butting heads, we need to open the lines of communication. I understand, Wayne, you're extremely short-staffed. We get that. So if there's a way that we can help to do that, we're more than willing to do that. There's been a strain on fields due to the growing number of participants playing on the fields. That is obviously a concern as well from the Parks Department. We get all that. We just want to be a part of the solution going forward. I don't know how many times I can say it, but as you can see in this town, I grew up playing soccer with many of your kids growing up. I've been playing since 5. At some point, we had to travel into St. Louis. When I moved back home about 6 years ago, back to Washington, I too was looking for a place for my kids to play. And the WSA kind of just fell in my lap. It is awesome to have a chance for my kids to play a competitive sport right here in Washington instead of having to drive all over town or all over the state like we did as kids. I think what we need to do looking forward, one of the solutions is to have a representative and some sort of a commission possibly with members of the Washington Junior Football League, the Baseball League, and the Soccer League to work hand in hand with Wayne and his team to come up with a solution on resting fields. What does that look like? Are there opportunities that we should be looking at as other fields? The Football League is growing, the Baseball League, everything's growing, but there's an obvious shortage of fields. And how do we get these fields to grow, to maintain, to fertilize, to reseed, and all that? So that's one of the things that I've been thinking about is getting everyone in one room and kind of hashing this out, kind of thinking it about out loud instead of just one person trying to dictate everything. I also think it's important for the board to realize that sports, as in the world, has changed a lot over the last 20 months, and sports in general the last 10 years. Soccer is no longer an 8-week sport. Baseball is no longer a 2-month sport. Sports has changed. It's now, unfortunately, it's competitive as ever, and it's year-round. Kids are playing sports all over the place. So I think we need to look at that in ways, what can the city and the Parks Board and all these organizations do as well to help solve some of the problems that we're having. I think you get kind of the idea where I'm going at. I think communication is key here. Just trying to repeat myself here. A couple of things I do want to clear about. In the last meeting, I did say that the reason that we extended this second session was due to a lack of, or we couldn't get as many kids in. That's a moot point. We actually, by contract, we're allowed to go till November 30th. That was one of the reasons, and the demand from parents to have another session for our younger kids. That was huge to have this extra session. To, like Nikki mentioned, we're building character, we're building self-esteem, teamwork, and all that goes along with playing sports. Back in July, this registration was stopped due to our lack of field space. That goes with any program. Trying to build a program, you only can have so many kids because you only have so many fields. And then especially, when Field 2 is being put to rest, that really put everything kind of into a bit of a situation. But, suggestions have been brought to the WSA to use other fields. Certainly open to that, but some of the fields that were brought to the attention just aren't up to the quality that needs to be played for some of the kids. Yes, they're young kids, but some of the fields are in rough shape. So if there's some sort of plan that, we can look at and help come up with, we're all a part of that. But, going to some of the fields in town that have been recommended just aren't the best. But that's not to say we're not open to doing that. The reason why Lakeview is such an ideal place, like Nikki mentioned, it's a vibrant community, not just on game days, but practice nights. I've got 3 kids out there playing, so it's very convenient. And I'm not saying that's the reason it should stay there, but it is convenient to have it in one location. Parents are coming together. My wife is not from here, so it's an opportunity for her to get to know people as well in this community. So that's special. That's how programs grow. That's how communities grow. That's why people want to move to Washington to see that. So you can feel that energy out there. Do we need to look at other options for other fields? That's a no-brainer. That's kind of what I think. If we can get all the organizations involved, I think we can all come to a solution of how we're going to mitigate this problem. The football program is growing tremendously, as is the soccer program. In conclusion, as the city moves forward with planning of maintenance of fields, myself, and whoever we want to be a part of the planning process of your next 3 to 5 years of putting fields to rest. What does that look like? We want to be a part of that. It helps everybody in their strategic planning going forward for how they want to grow their prospective programs. We want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of the solution. So it just helps in the long run. I just want to thank you guys for all you do for the youth in the community.
Excuse me one
Yep.
time, I'm sorry, but I didn't catch your name.
Tim Peters.
Tim Peters, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for all you do for the youth in the community. I appreciate you letting me speak tonight.
Tim,
Thank
what's
you.
your
Thank
position?
you. Tim, Betty has a question.
What's your position with the WSA?
I'm a board of advisor.
Okay.
Anyone else would like to come
Good evening,
forward?
Mr. Lamb.
Anybody else like to come forward and speak?
Good evening. Hi, I'm Dan Solentrup. A couple quick comments after viewing the last meeting. Tessie, I want to thank you. In the last meeting, you were the one that was trying to explain, I think, along with Wayne, quite frankly, what was taking place at the meeting that Jeff, yourself, Sparky, and us had. There was many people that started spouting out information that was false, and that prolonged your meeting and led to somebody on your board to say that this takes forever to solve this. But Tessie, they were not listening to you. This problem started because there is just a total lack of planning. As Tim said, we need to put a commission together to truly look at this and support Wayne. That's what this needs to happen. That is what needs to happen here. There was a contract that was signed in February of the year to go through November. That was changed in July. That stressed both sides of the organizations. I think the park side as well as WSA trying to figure out how to do that. That's in the middle of the season trying to figure out how to make things happen. I think there needs to be some respect that does need to be shared with a particular individual in the WSA after the comments that were made in the last meeting. As Tim said, to make this go forward, a plan has to be put together as to how do we plan ahead and say, how many games do we anticipate is going to happen in football, in soccer, in baseball? All those commissions need to come together with Wayne to figure out how do we do that in addition to the other fields in town. That's how the problem gets solved. It doesn't get solved by calling people names and bad-mouthing people. We're here to help support, and that's why we asked for the meeting back in August. And again, Tessie, I appreciate for you trying to articulate that in the last meeting. I'm just sorely disappointed with the other information that was spread during that meeting. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak on soccer? We'll do soccer first.
Good evening. My name is Mike Grubel. I am an assistant coach for one of the competitive WSA teams. Just want to let you guys know that I've been here practicing with these kids for 13 years. So with the way the organization was prior to 5 years ago, it was absolutely horrendous, the way it was handled, with the way it was being ran. I actually ended up pulling my kids out of it. And then I ended up getting reached out to by some people and bringing them back in about 5 years ago with the transition, with everything that's been going on. And it's been growing immensely. And it's a great program that's out here. I played soccer for 20 years. The only reason why I stopped is because I've had 4 knee surgeries from it. So now I'm trying to give some talent to the kids. And if we don't have somewhere to go with these kids, what are we going to do for them? I lived in St. Louis my entire life. I moved out here when I was 25. My wife wanted to raise her kids out here. She's from here, okay? So I agreed. I'm very big into soccer. My wife was not. I wanted to give them the opportunity. But with the way it's going right now with the program, it's a great place to be. That's all I really have. But going from playing soccer for as long as I have and not letting these kids grow, it's a huge devastation to myself. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Katie Brown, about soccer again. I really just wanted to say that I'm extremely thankful, 3 boys in soccer all over the place, that we can practice locally and still remain competitive. Kind of to Nikki's point, it really just opens a lot of doors. Working full-time to try to get people to St. Louis to practice is like impossible. So it's a really great program they're really trying to start. It's changed, absolutely. Not the same as it was before. I know I've heard people like, we used to play on dirt, and I played on the field that was now the disc golf course, and yes, there was dirt all over the field. It was crazy, but the expectations of parents have also changed, and just the competitive nature and the fact that people are playing year-round, which kind of drives me nuts. I wish it was more seasonal because my husband's also coaching in 3 teams, but that's the way it is, and so we have to learn to adapt, and I think the organization now is really trying to do that. And so I think it's in a good place. We hope we can have support on both sides to make that happen.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there any other speakers? Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board at this time on any issues that's on the agenda? Okay, thank you very much. Old business, the Lake Pavilion projects, which I think we kind of talked about, but
Yes, yeah, I did mention it in my report a while ago. The project is on course. Probably will run into, well, we experienced one delay because the pavilions were supposed to arrive in the beginning of November. Now it's December, so, but I fully expected that. So we will continue on with the site grading and demo and then pouring concrete. And so depending on when they get here, we'll be ready regardless, but we could be fully ready with all 3 pads poured and everything like that. So we'll just see and play it by ear. But that is moving along.
Wayne, did you find the wire that was buried between the 2 pavilions?
Well, we haven't dug up there yet. I mean, we took down 2.
The one you just knocked down? There's actually a wire that runs from there to the one behind the stage.
I remember you saying in the past.
I
brought that up to
I just
Chad.
want somebody to get killed.
No, they disconnected it before
Yeah,
they tore it down.
When you brought that up months ago, I brought that up to Chad, and he said it's been.
Okay, I just want to make sure you
taken care
found
of,
it.
so, Yeah,
I didn't put it in.
gotcha.
Some fair board members.
oh, that's great.
I'm right.
Any other questions on the pavilions? They are going to be made out of steel, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Main stage and amphitheater roof project?
That project's also moving along. They are still doing some boring, or I guess they completed the boring. Soil test came back good, and so we're on our way. They're still designing and getting everything ready, but that project is moving along also.
Okay. Questions? Runsick Field project.
Ronzik Field project, which you guys have approved to move forward in the budget. You, in your packet, or emailed out, I guess last night was, or yesterday, was a layout of the field. And the designer's computer crashed this week, and so I don't have a final copy, but that was my version of drawing in the warning track. When I got this, he had forgot to put the warning track that will run in front of the grandstands on there. So I did my best to draw it in with a hashed blue marker there.
Well done.
And it'll run from basically the wagon gate in front of the grandstands, or in front of both dugouts, in front of the grandstands, and then kind of terminate there at the first base dugout. So, and then in addition, I finally got the pricing late yesterday, and so I included that in your packet here. And we're right at budget, and we have everything included that we were wanting to get included for right at the budget price. And we've been in meetings with the Legion, and Councilman Packey's been there, along with Park Commission member Bob Kleppel. And so everyone's on the same page, and we're ready to go on this project. If council approves the project on Monday, it'd be about, they said, 10 to 12 weeks worth of actual work, but there'll be about a month worth of designing and engineering and stuff like that before they ever tear out the grass and stuff like that. So, but we will included in the project is turf in the dugouts, and then in both bullpens and the warning track, and then obviously the green part and the brown part that you see in the picture there. So, and we'll have drainage and everything, and it'll be real nice, and we'll cut down on our maintenance of that field quite a bit.
I'm sorry, Wayne, when did you say the projected completion, or did you?
Well, I didn't. It's about a month of design work. Once they get the signed contract, about four weeks or so of design work, and then they said the whole project, depending on weather, because it'll be winter time, 10 to 12 weeks worth of work to do on site.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions about Runzig?
Looks great.
If you guys don't mind
Go
taking
for
a
it.
vote for approval, that goes a long way for council meetings
Yes.
on Monday.
Well, I thought we already did, but okay, we'll have a motion to accept.
The design.
Yeah, we have a motion to.
I'll
Debbie makes a motion to
I'll
accept the
second.
design. Second by Gavin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Phoenix Park Playground Project.
As you know, you guys all made the recommendation, and that went to council for this playground last meeting, I believe it was, and they approved it, so we're on our way. Paperwork's been signed. The playground, she originally told me, I think it was December, but now it's January, so we'll see how that develops. Regardless, as I said in my report earlier, we have some work, not a ton, but a little bit of site work to do there before the playground gets here anyway. So we can get on that, kind of in between the pavilion project too. So got several sticks in the fire right now with limited staff. So, but we're doing the best we can. And I think that's it with that. It could come in, she said the pricing she gave me, she thinks, she heard, hadn't taken an effect yet, so she might have jumped the gun. So it could come in a tiny bit cheaper, which would be good.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that develops.
Any questions? Okay, Soccer League.
Soccer League, I just put this on there. Things have been going well. A couple weeks ago, I think it was, I don't know, around the 17th of September, there were a couple cars, I think, parked on the grass, and I think they got either warning tickets or real tickets, I'm not sure. But I know the police were called. Other than that, it's been pretty quiet. We did get a request from Sarah from WSA this week about using the outfields, because we weren't sure if they had planned on using those, because we hadn't heard. I'd sent an email, I think it was September 30th, asking. But we also had a request the same day, that morning, from Mike Newbanks from football. They're in playoffs, and they use the outfields of baseball. and they want lights, because it gets so dark now, they want lights to be on while they use those baseball fields, the outfields to practice on. So we rented those fields, 3 and 4, to football. WSA put in a request later that day. Field 2, so Lakeview Baseball, Field 2, is being used by the high school right now, but they're winding down, so that one I think will be available soon. The only one we had available currently, as of right now, is Field 1, and so we offered that one to WSA, and I believe they decided to use it, so they'll be lining that and be using Field 1 for practices. I think that's it, other than what you heard tonight, so.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none?
Jesse, I would just like to comment.
Okay.
A few people came up tonight. I guess there's short-term fixes, hopefully, and then there's long-term fixes. I think what we're approving tonight with the playground, with the Ronzik Field, all capital improvement sales tax projects that
Right.
are substantial amounts. This sunshine of this capital improvement sales tax ends in '26, right, Darren? Correct. And if I was on the soccer board, I'd be looking at, hey, maybe we can get a soccer field on the next batch and help us pass the next capital improvement sales tax in '26. I know it's a long ways off. I know that doesn't fix a field for next year, but that's how things have to happen. I mean, we can't build a new field next year to make another field happen, but we, the possibility of a park, additional field there, we're kind of landlocked, but maybe it'll work out. I don't know. All those things need to be planned, but I guess long-term, long-range plan, work with us to pass the next one so we can do things like this in our park system, is really my suggestion. I don't think we need to stop at, a solution to what they want to do. I feel for that. It's just got to be able to work hand in hand, just like they asked tonight, be part of the solution. I think we need to keep the lines of communication open for sure. So, thank you.
And
Yes, go ahead.
I'd also like to state to you soccer folks, the city is not anti-soccer. We're trying to do the best we can. At one of the meetings with Sarah, she stated, I don't know if it was this past year or the prior year, that you all had 24% growth rate, which is pretty substantial. And, growing pains are going to take time to cure. So we ask for patience and cooperation by all involved. Thank you.
Okay, I'll say one thing, and then if there's anyone else. I just want to point out to all the people, first of all, I want to thank you for coming and voicing. It's always good to hear what people have to say and viewpoints. But I just want everyone to know out there that this board is not anti-soccer. And just to prove that, within the last year, other than our regular meetings, we have met and had special meetings with soccer at least 5 times since last December. We have added parking spaces to try to alleviate the problems up there with the numbers and the growth and the people. We have, I wrote this down, I can't even read my own writing. That you got a striping machine, which was the city's, and I'm hoping it's working well and helping, and I appreciate the fact that you are trying to stripe fields and help us in a time when we are shorthanded people. And like Gavin said, and other people have said, we have a limited number of fields, and not only do we have to accommodate soccer and football and baseball and softball and adult leagues, we also have to have, at times, there are people in the public that rent those fields. So those fields are used all of the time. And we are trying to find a solution. We're trying to work, and like Jeff said, it takes time, but I do appreciate the fact that you came tonight, and I hope that we can continue to work in the future to solve some of the issues and try to get this to all work. Anybody else? Okay. New business. The Lions Club donation.
Lions Club donation. Recently, I received a call, and I had been in meetings with the Lions this past summer about possible donations to the park system, and so I got the final word. I haven't received the official letter yet, but I got a call from Ron Williams, and he said the Lions Club would like to donate $35,000 to the park system to be specified for the rock columns on all 3 pavilions. That was allotted for 30,000 of the 35, and then they want to spruce up their Lions Lake sign and make it consistent with the rest of the park branding that we have going on with the black and the gold trim and everything. And then also, we talked about adding a welcome to Hillerman Park and Lions Lake sign at the corner of South Lakeshore Drive and Grand Avenue. So as you come down the hill past the YMCA, that's probably the biggest entrance to the park for most people, especially during the fair. And so I think a nice sign there, close to the stop sign there, behind those rocks. We might do some shifting around, but a new sign there that welcomes people to the park and to the lake. So,
Wayne, will that sign be in conjunction or in harmony with the other signs that we have throughout the park?
yes, it would be black with the gold trim and the branding that we have going on.
Nice. Nice. So of course you said yes.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yes, that's
confirm
a substantial donation, and they're really excited about the rock columns because they feel, just like I think we all did too, and council, that that'll really dress those pavilions up. So, and then we'll work with them on getting their logos back up there too. They want to purchase some new ones, but I told them to hold off until we had the pavilions up so we can see where we can mount them and how big and how they fit on the new pavilions. So,
Okay,
very excited.
good. Well, thank you very much, Lions Club. Any questions on that? Okay, Lions Lake playground removal.
In your packet is one picture of the playground, and then also a report that was done in 2013 on how the playground is out of compliance with current ADA standards. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because we're doing, as you guys know and probably have seen, the site work there at the pavilion. So we're right next door with all our equipment, removing the pavilion. So it would be easy if you guys agreed. If this one was taken out, we could do it now while we're there on site. I know past history, from what I've been told, was when All Abilities Playground was put in, the goal or the idea, I think, behind that was to kind of make most people go over there to that big playground. I know that doesn't help when you're having a family reunion or a picnic rental there. You can't really see your kids from over there, but I'm not sure what's going on here. The idea or the goal was hopefully in the future that we could, maybe an organization or whatever, the city would come forward and fund a new playground for that same area about the same size that would be ADA compliant and would have a fence around it to keep kids from wandering in the lake, possibly wandering in the lake. I know that hasn't happened, but that is definitely a requirement. A lot of playgrounds you see in the community now, even here. That new one at Phoenix Park, will be putting a fence around that one because of the detention pond below there. That's really it's just a safety thing. So I don't know what all you. Let me see if I can get my pictures up here. I'm not sure what's going on here. I had them up working earlier.
Well, while you're trying to get that up, the things I notice about that playground, I hate to take any playground down without knowing that it can be replaced, but none of the components they don't follow the ADA guidelines. So that right there is kind of dangerous, all right? The second thing is that it doesn't provide any ground level play activities. So, I mean, I'm just going off the ADA guidelines. And then they are no longer, I guess, the company that we got that playground from in 1990 or whenever, they no longer carry or make any replacement parts for that equipment. So if the equipment goes bad, we can't replace it. So, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud right now, but if we tore it down, maybe we could work on if we have an organization as generous as the Lions that would like, because every now and then they do come and ask if there's something that we need, we could begin to maybe make a plan for replacement, but it wouldn't be probably within a year or two.
We'll call it shovel-ready.
Yeah, exactly, yeah,
And
exactly.
just to be clear, if you guys did make a recommendation to remove this, we could still leave the swings there on site, so you would have some play value there
So the swing
still.
set could stay?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
that's good.
finished?
Yes, sir.
I got a question on that. The playground equipment that we're gonna take down, it's not ADA approved and all that, what are we gonna do with that?
Well, I've checked into this with the Maine Park Playground, because we had a lot of questions about that. And the city, if we sold it or gave it away to anyone, if they were to get someone, the new person or new organization that had the playground were to get hurt, the city could be liable for that, because we're taking it out because it's not compliant and we think it's bad, and then you're giving it to someone else to use. I also checked with the state association, Missouri Parks and Recreation Association. They said the same thing. And a lot of times you'll see if a manufacturer's coming in, if it was turnkey, if they come in and do the removal and then put in a new playground, oftentimes they will shred the plastic stuff, not just throw it in a dumpster, because I guess they've had issues with people going in dumpster diving and getting the parts out of the dumpster. So a lot of times they'll shred the plastic parts and then throw them away, so no one can use them anymore.
I know that playground fairly well. Well, my grandson plays on it frequently. I looked at it extensively earlier this week. This playground, is basically in October of 2021 is in the same shape that it was in August of 13 when this report was written. It's never been ADA compliant, and the paint was gone in 13. The paint is still gone. The metal is galvanized, so it's not truly rusting. I don't think it is deteriorating to where it's dangerous. Do you, Wayne?
Well, I would say not. I haven't had any reports. I know at Maine Park Playground we had to do, like in this picture here underneath, up there, we had to do some repairs to that one where on a Sunday, actually the street superintendent called me and a piece, like a kid fell through kind of the platform piece, and we had to do some welding on that one before we removed it. And it was in similar condition to this. That one up there had the rubberized surfacing that was going bad, so someone could fall and the impact could really hurt them.
The rubberized surface on this, yes, it's deteriorated, but it's not disintegrated.
Right, and there's some bowing, if I can get this to slow down now. Let's see here, let me find the picture. I don't know how well you'll see it, but I thought I tried to take a picture of it. On the platform, I might not have it, but
Okay.
let me point it out here with the pointer. In this area here, it's bowed some just from use. The kids stand on there. I think there's another platform up here they stand on. So it's starting to bow some. Not super bad, but we saw that at the Maine Park Playground too. I don't know if how much longer it'll last. I mean, it could last, like you said, could last another 5 years or longer.
My contention and what I'm getting at is why tear it down just to tear it down when we don't have something in its stead? You know, I realize you got your equipment there, but, you know,
Right.
it's not that far from the shop to where, you know, equipment can't be moved there at some future time.
Correct.
Okay, I understand that as well.
And you're gonna do it anyway.
Any other questions or comments on this playground?
I guess, do we need to take a vote, or?
Yeah, I will. I'm just want to make sure everybody says, anybody
We're
have
not
any?
taking it down because it's easy to do at this time. We're taking it down because of a liability issue.
Right.
So the park board's not voting to take this down. The insurance company's making us take it down.
Well, and I was going to say, I think when we put it in 1990, and I could be wrong on this, but we didn't necessarily have to always follow the ADA guidelines, not back then. And so that's when those came in, then we started to conform to, you know what I mean, to bring everything up.
I know in general, the city is trying, you know, there's a lot of things, not just park stuff, and Darren can attest to this, that the city is out of compliance, but then as we do new projects and things like that, the city gets into compliance.
Right.
Like you said, a lot of times you're grandfathered in. And
Playground.
just to be clear, the insurance company's not requiring us to do this. You know, like I said, a report was done several years ago. I'm just bringing this forward because we're in the area. So I feel, I know what the report says, and I know there could be liability there. And so I'm bringing it to you all just to see what all you say and kind of go from there, take it from there.
As Parks Director, what's your recommendation?
I don't want to be in the business of taking out playgrounds and not putting new ones in, although we are putting some new ones in. But, I mean, if I had to make a decision knowing what I know, I would say take it out.
Well, it certainly passed its lifetime.
Yeah, it's,
Exceeded
yeah,
the
we've gotten a lot of money out of that playground.
Well-
Or a lot of years out of it, I mean.
Excuse me, my thinking is this, if the insurance companies are saying, hey, this could be a liability,
I may have
you
spoken
know?
out there when I said that, Bob. I
Okay.
take that for me.
Yeah, Wayne just said that they've
Yeah.
not been.
The insurance company is not making us take it out
You're
or
not
hasn't
making
even
it-
said anything
you're not
about it.
making
Or
do
not,
it right
okay,
now.
all right.
Okay, any other comments before we take a vote? I need a motion
Motion
to, you have to tell me a motion.
to tear it down
We have a motion to remove the playground currently.
I'll second it.
We have a, okay, so
with,
we have a-
with an opportunity to rebuild something there in the future for the kids.
Right. So we have a motion by Bob, we have a second by Danny. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. I hope she got that. Okay. Poll report.
No, you forgot.
Oh, you
Oh, I forgot. Oh, I'm sorry. Phoenix Park name change to Richard F. Stratman Park.
Included in your packet is a letter Darren Lamb received. And Darren asked me to bring this to Park Board to get a recommendation from you all on changing Phoenix Park to Richard F. Stratman Park, which is Mr. Stratman's former mayor, as you, I think probably everyone's
But
aware of.
I'm going to correct you 1 minute. Stratman.
Stratman. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You'll get it. You'll get it. You're not from
That's all right,
here. You're
Mrs.
good.
That's all right, Mrs. Stevens.
Yeah, I know. So I just wanted to
Somebody's
correct.
got to say that, thank you.
You butchered my name too, Wayne, but that's okay.
So do we have discussion on this?
Oh, there's all kinds of discussion.
Yeah.
All right, we'll start with Bob.
The only thing I have to say on this subject is that, and I'm sure that he is well deserving of this, but I know a couple of years ago, I think here in this thing, we took a vote on that we would no longer name things after individuals. Am I right on
You're right.
that?
You're right.
I thought I was. And that's the only thing that I want to bring up, that it was brought up quite a few times that people want different names put on different things here in town, and that's when it was brought up, and then it was voted on not to do that anymore.
Bob, it was brought up, and that's the park they were going to rename. They already had it once. We turned somebody down once.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can do it again.
It's,
Right.
And the other thing is, isn't that, could be wrong, the Wall of Honor,
Out here on the hall.
that was gonna be the place for people that we wanted to honor and respect, not name parks after.
That's the only thing I have on it.
Darren, is there a citywide policy on naming of facilities, et cetera, et cetera?
No.
Thank you.
I mean, if the park board came up, with their own policy or with regards to that, we understand that. Is there a citywide? Not that I'm aware of, no.
Right.
There was some discussion, last time I can remember, there was some discussion, two things I remember. One was before the bridge was going up, and this would have not just been with the city of Washington, but it would have been with the state, to name the bridge after somebody. And then I remember there was a discussion also the transportation meetings about the possibility of naming the airport after somebody. So after some discussion, they just kind of fizzled and decided not to pursue that at that time.
Well,
I can't remember the last time that we had somebody that requested, I remember when Lakeview became Jerry Jasper Park. I think that was at some point, but that's been a while.
That's been a long time ago.
You're right.
And Agnes
Exactly.
Nolting after that.
And that was-
And like I said, other than that, I don't.
And Royce Soccer,
Right.
yeah.
The latest one was Agnes Nolting, and I'm going to
Right.
guess, I'm guessing that was in the last 10 years. I'm going to say 10 years. And I just wanted to point out that when we had this discussion that Bob is referring to, we felt that there are so many people that are in the city that, don't go yet, we might need you.
I'll be here as long as you want me to
Well,
be.
that there are so many people in the city that have done so much in so many avenues that if you start naming them after one individual, then you might be hurting another individual, or you might be forgetting that there was a group of people that were involved in being instrumental in lots of different areas, you know what I mean? And so we started the wall out there because we wanted to recognize individuals, but we didn't, otherwise we also felt that people would be coming to the park board or to the council every 5, 10, 15 years with, let's change this name to this now because this person has done that. And so there's a lot of thought in that discussion. So I'm just giving the history of and I
We
don't-
have, I think, the latest recent edition we had when, gosh dang it, can't remember the name now, I apologize.
Jackie Miller?
No, before, or since her, the big donation for the pool.
Miller. To the, not,
Jaeger.
oh,
Jaeger,
Yes.
thank you,
Jaeger.
Anita Jaeger Trust.
Yes.
We did recognize her recently on the thing back here at the council meeting, and that was
right.
after her estate, followed through with all of those donations, and the parks received a $100,000 donation from her family, so. And then he's right, prior to that, it was Jackie Miller, and recognizing her for her donation of the Miller Post Reserve.
Right.
So, and there's others, you can go out there and everybody can see the names that are out there, so.
Thanks.
Where did the request originate from?
Vernacci had.
Mr. Vernacci.
Mr. Vernacci, obviously developer of the Phoenix Center, had called me up, and I said, Joe, send me a letter. Basically, just started with that.
And so the letter is in our packet.
Yeah, there's a letter in their
That's what
packets, I don't know if you did.
That's what we're talking about. Any other comments?
I know Mr. Vernacci's here, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
You want to speak, Mr.
Joe, you wanna-
Vernacci?
you want to say anything? Okay.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah, it was very nice talking to you.
My name's Joe Vernacci, and there were two Italian hitmen walking out in the woods. One looked at the other and said, I'm kind of afraid. He said, what are you afraid of? I got to walk back by myself. So with that out of my system, Dick Stropman is the reason that park's sitting there, bottom line. And that's why I wrote the letter that I did. He was very adamant in our meetings over the course of about a year and a half getting Phoenix Center approved. And I think the man deserves the recognition. That's it in a nutshell. He didn't ask for it. He wouldn't ask for it that I would know of. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to ask for it. And the way it got named Phoenix Park wasn't really me. It was Jim Briggs and Brian Bamer. They called me up and they said, hey, what do you want to name the park? And I said, well, I don't know, what do you think? And Brian said, Phoenix Park, how's that? I said, that's fine. In hindsight, I wish I would have reserved the right to rename it if the occasion arose, but I didn't. So anyway, I just think he's very deserving of the recognition.
Excuse me, were you the developer of that?
I'm sorry?
Now, you being the developer might make a difference. The reason I say that because he developed it in the first place and named it the first place, because if anybody could change it, it might have to fall back on the developer.
You know, I appreciate that comment, and I do feel that way. I mean, when you look at it, we gave you all 20 acres of ground that was developed for a hiking and biking trail. You chose to build tennis courts there and a pavilion. It's a great park now, and it's getting a lot of use. But Dick's comment to me was, look, we need a park in the east side of town. And that's how the whole discussion got started. So, you know, I think you ought to consider it. And I understand rules, and I understand the logic behind the rules that you all have referred to. But I just read something the other day. Doolittle, Missouri was named after General Jimmy Doolittle. Now, if they'd had that, it might be some other name. So, appreciate your time and give it your consideration, please.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Yes.
Because it's coming up next week. It was at the P&Z meeting on Monday, and it's coming up on this Monday in front of the council. We do have a proposed new industrial park that the city is looking, and the 353 Redevelopment Corporation chose to honor our late Dick Oldenburg for his economic development director. So I'm just, we brought it up, so I'm just letting you know. I don't want somebody saying, well, they just said that, you know?
I have a question. Is this of a necessity per se that we make the decision tonight? Is there a rush on this? I mean, or I'm just asking, or is it something we can think about or ponder and make the decision
Table it
next
for a
month?
moment, yeah.
I mean, since there's some other.
There's no rush.
Not-
There's no deadline. My thought process is this. Dick's health is not great.
Right.
And it might be a good idea to act with a little bit of expediency.
Well, and you do also realize that, I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. If the board would say no, that they do not make this recommendation, it still doesn't mean that the council can't override what we,
I understand.
you know what I mean?
I understand.
Okay.
But it's not likely.
I know the other side, it would go very well if we were all.
I've tried that. I've tried that ask mom, ask dad routine. It doesn't.
Right.
Hey, Dave,
That was a good one.
that was a hint.
Well, what does the board think? Would you want, I know that Mr. Stratman is not doing well, but would you like to ponder on this for a month? Would you like to vote on it for a month? It's you guys, you gotta either make the motion, I can't.
I think we really need to think about it because, you know, we've talked about not renaming parks.
Right.
And honestly, Mr. Vernese, you know, with all the development you've done at Phoenix Center, it makes sense to call it Phoenix Park, in my opinion, because a lot of people don't even realize that that park's out there yet, believe it or not. It's kind of the jewel in our community. I was out there last night, and I could not believe all the people out there. But when you say Phoenix Park, they think, well, it has to be connected to Phoenix Center. It would make sense.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we wait a month,
I second it.
but no more.
No more.
Okay, I agree.
I
We bring
second.
it up at the next
At the
meeting.
next meeting, and we make the
Now we
decision.
make a
Okay, I second.
All right? So we have a motion by Danny and a second by Debbie to table this issue for 1 month, and we will vote on it next month. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, I think, hold on. I'm confused as to where we are now. Let me borrow this.
Full report.
Yes, okay, pool report, please.
Pool report.
Isn't that nice?
So, as you can see, we had a good year at the pool. I think many of you guys were out there, at least drove by and saw the people. You know, it's still, despite having a new pool and record attendance, we still lost, $45,000, but not near as much as in years past, especially compared to 2019.
That's
right. So we're doing well. We, in a different document that I know I sent a lot. We had a lot on the agenda, a lot in the packet, plus a couple emails I sent out in addition to the packet. I didn't want to, overwhelm you guys. I do have another document that I'll share with you guys next meeting in November it's a document that Darren and I worked on, our estimates in January of 2021, and then versus the actual numbers. We did rather well. We were, we produced more than in most areas or almost all the areas than what we thought we would. So that's good. People seemed to like the pool. I heard a lot of positive comments once people started getting there. Still hard to believe that first day, opening day, I was wearing a jacket on the pool deck, and we had 3 kids show up at noon for a brand new pool. But I think the next week it was like 95 degrees. So crazy how Missouri's weather affects what people do and how they enjoy the outdoors. But anyways, you guys can digest this. I'm sure Ethan will probably have some questions for me. And then we'll continue on this next month too. So, any questions about what you have in front of you?
No, I think I like the idea that we stayed open till Labor Day weekend. I think
That helps.
Yeah, in the other report, we have it detailed, Casey, because we got new recreation software this year right before the pool opened, and we were able to pull those numbers and see how many people we had attend each week that, like in the past, so like Fair Week, the week after the fair, 2 weeks after the fair, right. Labor Day weekend, all those weekends, and I was rather, even that last full week that we were open, we had good attendance, and it was hot that week too.
It was hot.
Even I think once we closed full time during the week, it was still hot, and we had some complaints that we should have been open, or they wish we would have been open, but we just didn't know. It was in the contract; it was written like that for the lifeguards. And so next year we'll try to maybe we'll try to stay open another week longer, get a little more use out of the pool. So.
Ron, I also like that the splash pad was open after all of it.
Yeah, that was well attended.
That was well attended. But I really think on behalf of the board, we need to thank the city, we need to thank the parks, we need to thank Robin for all the work that they've done this summer to make that pool a success. Thank all the people who donated, our umbrellas and all of that to make it just a beautiful place to drive by. The colors are outstanding, besides just the pool itself. And I also think that we need to thank you guys for your disc golf tournament. Yes. I have heard wonderful things about it, and it must have gone very well. And I'm not going to say it right, but Betty, you know. Witches Night Out, Ladies Night Out.
Yeah, I want to tell the staff, though, Witches on Main Street was unbelievable. And we had so many positive comments that night, and people wanted to know if they could pre-buy tickets for next year already, because, we have a whole notebook full of things that we're going to change and fine-tune a little bit for next year, but we sold 350 tickets and closed it down. So it was an amazing turnout. It really and truly was, and it was a good night.
Well, I just don't.
And your staff was wonderful helping us out too.
I don't think we thank our staff enough. And
I don't
you guys
think so
do a
either.
great job. And so for all of these various events in the pool, I think we should say thank you very much for your hard work.
Well, I'll pass that on. I know I've said this before, but the pool, as far as the pool goes and the day-to-day operations out there with the cashiers and the concession stand and all that, minus the lifeguards. I mean, Robin kept that place humming this year, and she was out there. She was out the pool way more than she probably ever has since she's been here. But, I mean, we didn't have any shortages on staff. Everything, I mean, for the most part, went great. We had plenty of food. People were buying food. It was priced right. I mean, there was a lot of legwork that went into the concession stand and staffing and all that stuff. And so she was out there. She spent a lot of her days and weekends out there. The witch event, I'm glad you mentioned that because I did not have that on my list, was very well attended. I talked to different vendors and organizations that were down there that were selling stuff. They were all happy with the attendance, and everyone had fun. The pictures and the videos were great. But talking to staff afterwards, the maintenance staff helped set up for it. But Robin, who's been in this field, I don't know, 20-something years, she said that was the event that like made her career. Like that's been the best event that she's ever put on in her whole career. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
It was phenomenal, and everybody worked hard. They really did. So.
I'll pass it on.
Is there anything else anybody else would like to bring up that's not on the
Tessie, one more
agenda?
thing.
Yes,
The
sorry.
national award that we got from American Bloom.
Yes.
The disc golf course, having something old, making something new out of it, we got a national award for that. So
Fabulous.
that was just
Yes.
last week. So that's quite an
Okay.
achievement, I think, that we were recognized for that.
Cool.
Yeah, I love that. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, so there was a couple key things. Obviously, we turned a former landfill into a disc golf course, but then also we used a lot of mulch, compost from the composting center, and so the reuse of that mulch too helped us get a lot of points. We kind of used it as soil almost in a way, the backfill around the tee pads and things like that, fully knowing that the Bermuda would creep in there and kind of take care of itself. So it was nice.
I
Nice
had a
award.
question on birthday parties at the pool.
Yes.
At 2,000 how many parties? Is it
It's in my other report. I'm glad you asked that, though. I do know the number. It was 22 birthday parties and one that had to get a refund. So,
Okay.
Oh, good.
Nice.
yeah, so
I
we
just-
went from having no birthday parties at the pool to 22. So,
I'd just like to reiterate what Jeff said about some of the projects that everybody sees us talking about here tonight are part of the sales tax. This is not money that we have in our budget, and I think everybody has to understand that the fields are part of our budget. They're not coming from this $350,000, and I think that's important, for everybody to understand that the fields are regularly budgeted as opposed to big chunks of change. Sometimes people look at these big chunks of change, and as Jeff said, it comes out of that special sales tax.
But I also think it would be a good idea for all of them to come together for that 2026.
I do too.
Because I think it's very obvious that our youth sports programs are growing, and we want to be that place for the kids to be able to participate at whatever level that they want to participate. So I think,
Okay, anybody
so
else?
let me clarify that real quick. So what Betty was describing to you all is the maintenance of the athletic fields comes out of the city's general fund. These other projects that you heard us talk about tonight, pavilions, playground, pool, things like that, were all budgeted in the half-cent sales tax. And those projects are, I guess, Jeff, you probably could speak more to it, but kind of thought of and ahead of time and then voted on by the voters. So the city says, we'd like to do, X, Y, and Z. Here's our plans, and then it's taken to the voters vote yes or no, and then it's approved into that half-cent sales tax budget, and then that's what you have to work off of for 8 years. And so that budget, it's 8 years long. You got to get all those projects X, Y, Z done in those 8 years. So, potentially go back to the voters and say, in 8 years, I'd say, well, we want to do more soccer fields, or we want to do more baseball fields, or whatever. And then the city's point of view is, if we do a good job and say we're going to get X, Y, and Z done in the 8 years, that the voters are happy with the projects because they voted on them, and then they'll approve the next 8 years worth of projects. So that's kind of how that works. I think I described that right.
It's like this baseball field. We got the turf, came through the half-cent sales tax. If you had a couple turf soccer fields, then you don't have no resting time. And you won't have any,
Right.
more than likely won't have
Correct.
any rainouts.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Dan Stonetrump's back there saying, we're gonna get turf soccer fields, I guarantee.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
if you put your request in,
True.
it's possible.
Put your plan in place. Yep.
Any other?
And go big.
Always go big.
That's right, go big.
Any other questions, comments before we adjourn? I want to remind everyone that our next meeting is November 17th. And with that said, I need a motion to adjourn and a second, please.
I make a motion.
Oh, no, okay, wait, November 10th. Betty lied.
Why the 17th?
It was,
Betty, you lied.
I did.
Well, it says October.
That says,
John.
yeah,
Yeah.
October.
That's-
Yeah.
That's not the right.
Looks like I missed the date
So
there
it's
on the.
November 10th.
November 10th.
November 10th, okay. And we have a motion by, it was by Debbie and a second by, oh, all right, a second by Betty. All in favor? Aye. All right, all adjourned. See you guys.
Good job.
Kevin, have a good one, yeah.
Jesse, turn your phone on.